Iran is facing one of the most severe internal crises in its modern history, and this time the danger is not political slogans, foreign threats, or economic sanctions alone. The danger is water, or more accurately, the complete disappearance of it. Iran's largest water transmission line, the main artery supplying Tehran and surrounding regions, is effectively gone. Whether due to years of neglect, mismanagement, climate stress, or structural failure, the result is the same. The capital city of Iran, home to nearly 15 million people, is now staring at a future without reliable access to water. This is not a temporary outage. This is not a minor disruption. This is a systemic collapse that threatens to make Tehran unlivable. For decades, Tehran expanded beyond its natural limits. The city grew faster than its resources, faster than its infrastructure, and faster than any long-term planning could support. Millions migrated to the capital in search of jobs, education, and security, while the government continued to promise development without securing the most basic requirement for life. Water pipelines were stretched beyond capacity, reservoirs were drained year after year, and groundwater was extracted at unsustainable levels. Now the consequences of those decisions have arrived, and they are brutal. The loss of Iran's largest water line has sent shockwaves through the entire country. This pipeline was not just a piece of infrastructure, it was the backbone of Tehran's water system, supplying homes, hospitals, industries, and power plants. Without it, water pressure has collapsed in vast areas of the city. Entire neighborhoods are experiencing dry taps for days at a time. Some areas receive water only for a few hours at night. Others receive none at all. People wake up unsure if they will be able to drink, cook, wash, or even flush toilets. Hospitals are among the hardest hit. Medical facilities rely heavily on clean water for surgeries, sanitation, and patient care. Without stable supply, hospitals are forced to ration water, delay procedures, and operate under dangerous conditions. Doctors and nurses are already overwhelmed by shortages of medicine and equipment, and now they must also fight to maintain hygiene in environments where infection risks are rising sharply. A healthcare system under pressure is now being pushed toward breaking point. Schools, universities, and public institutions are closing or reducing operations. Industries that require water, including food processing, manufacturing, and energy production, are slowing down or shutting off entirely. This means job losses, supply shortages, and rising prices across the board. When water disappears, the economy does not just slow down. It begins to collapse. The Iranian government has acknowledged the crisis, but its response has been vague and inconsistent. Officials speak of temporary measures, emergency management, and water transfer projects, yet on the ground, people see no improvement. Tanker trucks distribute water in some districts, but this is not a solution for a megacity of 15 million people. It is a symbol of failure. A capital city depending on water trucks is not a city that can function in the long term. As water shortages deepen, public anger is rising rapidly. Protests have already erupted in multiple cities across Iran over water scarcity in recent years, but Tehran is different. Tehran is the political heart of the country. When Tehran becomes unstable, the entire system trembles. Residents are taking to the streets, demanding answers, accountability, and immediate action. Chants are no longer just about water. They are about corruption, incompetence, and a government that failed to protect its people. Water scarcity in Iran is not new. Years of drought, climate change, and declining rainfall have severely reduced natural water sources. But environmental factors alone, do not explain the scale of this disaster. Decades of mismanagement have turned a serious challenge into a national emergency. Rivers were diverted for political projects. Wetlands were drained for short-term gains. Groundwater was extracted faster than it could be replenished, causing land subsidence that permanently damaged aquifers and pipelines. In some areas around Tehran, the ground is sinking by several centimeters per year, cracking infrastructure and making repairs increasingly difficult. The collapse of the main water line is not an isolated failure. It is part of a chain reaction. As groundwater levels drop, pipes lose structural support. As land subsides, pipelines crack and rupture. As repairs are delayed due to lack of funds, expertise, or political will, the system deteriorates further. Eventually, it reaches a point where collapse is no longer a possibility, but an inevitability. The idea of mass evacuation is no longer hypothetical. Experts inside Iran have begun warning that parts of Tehran may become uninhabitable if water supply cannot be restored. A city of this size cannot survive on rationing and emergency deliveries. Families are already considering leaving, especially those with children or elderly members. Those who can afford it are moving to smaller cities or rural areas, hoping to find stable water sources. Those who cannot afford to leave are trapped, forced to endure worsening conditions. Mass evacuation of Tehran would be one of the largest internal displacements in modern history. 15 million people cannot simply relocate overnight. Housing markets in other cities would collapse under pressure. Infrastructure elsewhere is not prepared to absorb such numbers. Social tensions would rise, unemployment would increase, and internal instability would spread across the country. This is why the water crisis is not just an environmental issue. It is a national security threat. The international community has largely remained silent on Iran's internal water collapse. Sanctions and geopolitical tensions dominate the narrative, but water scarcity does not respect political boundaries. A destabilized Iran affects the entire region. Refugee flows, economic shocks, and regional insecurity could increase if the situation continues to deteriorate. Yet global attention remains limited, partly because water crises unfold slowly, without dramatic explosions or instant visuals. Inside Iran, trust in official messaging is collapsing along with infrastructure. People no longer believe promises of future projects or long-term plans. They want water now, they want transparency, they want accountability. Social media is filled with videos of empty reservoirs, dry riverbeds, and cracked earth. Citizens document their daily struggles, showing buckets, empty taps, and long lines for water distribution. These images tell a story far more powerful than any official statement. Children are growing up in a city where water is no longer guaranteed. This has long-term consequences for public health, education, and social development. Dehydration, poor sanitation, and stress-related illnesses are increasing. Families are forced to prioritize water over food, hygiene over comfort, survival over dignity. When a society reaches this point, the damage extends beyond infrastructure. It reaches the human psyche. Tehran's crisis is also a warning to other megacities in the region. Rapid urbanization, climate stress, and poor governance are a dangerous combination. Without sustainable water management, any city can face a similar fate. Iran's experience shows what happens when warnings are ignored for too long. Scientists, engineers, and environmental activists have been sounding the alarm for years, but their voices were dismissed or silenced. Now, the alarm is impossible to ignore. The loss of Iran's largest water line is not just a technical failure. It is a symbol of a system that prioritized ideology, politics, and short-term survival over long-term planning and human welfare. Rebuilding that pipeline, even if possible, will take time, resources, and expertise that Iran may not currently have. Even if repairs begin tomorrow, restoring full capacity could take years. In the meantime, millions remain without reliable access to the most basic necessity of life. As the crisis deepens, one question grows louder every day. How did it come to this, and is there any way back? The answer is complex, but one thing is clear. Tehran is standing at the edge of an unprecedented humanitarian disaster. Water, the foundation of civilization, is disappearing, and with it, the illusion of stability. If nothing changes soon, the mass evacuation of Iran's capital may shift from a warning into reality, marking a turning point not just for Iran, but for the entire region. This is not the future. This is happening now.